Hey there. Welcome, civilians. You've arrived at the home of civilized and thought-provoking commentary. Get ready for elevation, growth, and experience. I am the civilized woman.
Welcome back, civilians. Today I'm going to give my 2 cents about the two young people you see on the screen there, Halle and DDG. The young couple broke up in early October after almost 3 years and a young baby. The ex-couple have been in the news this past week because Halle expressed her disapproval of DDG taking their son, Halo, on an appearance he made on another young man's podcast, Kai Cenat, on his stream. I've never seen the young man's stream, but I understand he's quite successful, and so people go on there, and it's long hours. There's a lot of things that go on there. So Halle wrote on her X profile, "Hi everyone. Just so you know, I am out of town and I don't approve of my baby being on a stream tonight. I wasn't told or notified, and I'm extremely upset to have my baby in front of millions of people." She went on to say, "I am his mother and protector and saddened that I wasn't notified, especially as I am out of town." This is what, and this was reported in BuzzFeed. Well, at least that's where I pulled it from for the purposes of this video. One thing I noticed in here is there's a lot of my baby, I'm his protector, I'm his mother. DDG is the baby's father as well. So it's very interesting to me. I mean, she is now a single mother because they're no longer together. But what tends to happen, especially in the black community, of once people are not together, the child automatically is the possession of the mother, which is very interesting because in other cultures, children are the possessions, quote unquote, are seen as attached to the father instead of the mother. So she said that quite a bit in this statement, almost gives the impression that she tends to have more of a care or a concern for the baby than the father does. Now, I don't think that's true. I just wanted to call that out because that struck me that she kept saying my baby, I'm his protector. So just almost like she's doing it totally alone now, and this kind of has grabbed me just because we do see the baby on the internet with both him and her, and they're doing things with him, normal activity, kind of hanging with him. So that just struck me, but I'll continue on. From what I understand, there's a lot of adult activities that goes on at Kai Cenat's stream, and there even was a pow pow incident that happened. So I can see why she would want to be made aware, to be able to have say so as to whether or not her young baby goes in that environment. However, DGG is who she picked to be her child's father. So essentially, she passively at least trusts his judgment, because why would she have a baby with somebody that she don't trust or don't believe would have their child's best interest in mind? She received some backlash for this, of course, and in a subsequent post that seemed as a backtrack to what she said previously. Essentially, she overreacted, and she also mentioned suffering from postpartum and feeling like her boundaries was not being respected. Another thing that stuck out to me, obviously postpartum is a serious thing for any mother who have gone through that, because honestly, giving birth is a very traumatic experience. You literally have one foot in life and one foot in death. Now, I'm not speaking as somebody who has experienced childbirth as of yet. I've actually been in a room when a child was being born. Eons ago, in my teenage years, one of my best friends at the time, rest her soul, she's no longer living, but her first child, I was her Lamaze coach. Now, at either her ages, she probably had no sense being having a baby at that age. I had no sense being her Lamaze coach, but there we were, and it's a beautiful, it's a miraculous thing, but it really is a traumatic thing for a woman's body to go through. And I can imagine that even after you have done that, there still may be some imbalances that you're dealing with that would present itself through the form of postpartum. So that's not a game. That also would be for me as a woman why you should be selective in who you go through that process for. that that is why I know it seems like it's not fair that a lot of the burden, I'm going to sidetrack for a minute and I'll come back to them, but I know it seems like it's not fair for a lot of the burden to be put on the woman to be the one to say, okay, be this selective, be this judicious about the act of having a child or creating a child. I totally agree. I think it should be both the male and the female. However, because we are the ones that bear the most responsibility, we're the ones that would suffer the most consequence. I think that it would behoove us to be discerning and to be discretionary about who we choose to have that act with. You should be getting a little bit more than just, that's my bae or whatever, if you're going to go into that act with somebody. So fair or not, I'm all about, nobody's going to care for you more than you care about yourself. Nobody is going to look out for your best interest more than you are. And it is in our best interest as women to not just lay down with anybody under any circumstance. We should be very, 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 very selective about that, and certainly who we choose to have children with. And the ideal, I know people might poo poo this, is old fashioned, whatever. The most ideal, not, I didn't say perfect, but the most ideal would be to do this act of having a child within the confines of marriage. All you can do is do your due diligence. If it doesn't work out, that's one thing different, but to not even go through that steps, and now you've created a child with somebody that obviously at one point, maybe it was more lust than anything else, but at one point obviously there was something there, or else you wouldn't have laid with them and had a child with them. Now you're upset because they put your child in an environment that you weren't okay with, and that you're questioning their judgment. So then Daily Mail, I went over there, and they also they recorded a response to DDG and his defense of Halle after her backlash. He of course responded via a YouTube video standing up for her, and he goes on to say, one thing I don't like when people do, I don't like when people hate on Halle. He said, I don't care if people think she wrong or not, or if I think she wrong or not. She could be going through something mentally after having a kid that I don't understand as a man. Y'all could hate on me for as long as y'all want, but leave Halle alone, man. DDG continued. He also said that he and his ex would be family forever. That's true. They're connected forever. That's for sure. They've chosen to create legacy together. So yes, that's a true statement. So what are my thoughts about these two young people? Well, both of these people, they're young, obviously. Looks like they come from a good, stable family background. Halle, 24, comes from a two-parent home, very talented singer, actor, instrumentalist. She's one of four siblings, and her father taught both her and her sister, uh, uh, Chloe. Why did that child's name just slip my mind like that? Chloe, how to play instruments and how to write music at the age of 8 and 10, respectively. And Halle made history as being the first black mermaid starring in the remake of Disney's A Little Mermaid. Homeschooled, very sheltered, I would presume. Should not, in my opinion, have gone through the route of being a baby mom. If I'm not mistaken, too, I think there is a heavy religious background with their upbringing, which, as a person, I am a believer, I am a Christian, and I think sometimes there's an attempt to shelter a child so much that you don't prepare them adequately for the real world. You don't let them know what is really out there. So they go out thinking that everybody is, you know, candy cane and lollipops and cotton candy, and they don't know the real of what goes on out there, and so they get themselves into situations, or they're enticed by what they don't know, the other side of the tracks, if you will, and they can get themselves into a little bit of a situation. Now, she actually pursued him by sliding into his DMs, and she was a fan of his. So that's how they got connected. Now, DDG 27 is a successful YouTuber with a rap career. He must be highly intelligent because he was class valedictorian. He later on dropped out from college after he started making $30,000 a month on YouTube. It does not appear that his parents are still together, but his dad did have a heavy influence on his music, as his dad is was an audio engineer. According to DDG, he left the street life after one of his brothers were murdered. He also says he knows who the person is that did it. So I don't know if they ever pursued legal action or if it was one of those, street code, don't snitch kind of situations. On the surface, it may appear that these two should not have been a couple, as she has a mainstream image being a part of Disney, and he's an internet celebrity. But I actually think that they would be a good couple that could last with if they were mature enough, they had grown enough, and with some time, that it's possible that they can circle back and go the distance with each other. Now, a lot of us internet aunties, cousins, and big sisters were warning Halle about being in a relationship with DDG, as he's viewed as a clout chaser who would not be able to handle a relationship with a woman more high profile than he, and would do things to, quote, humble her. To the critics' credit, though, they may not have been wrong, as a YouTuber slash rapper wrote a song about being jealous of her. She was trying to keep her pregnancy secret, and yet he was doing posts that would confirm to the public our suspicions of her being pregnant. Also, there was a controversy with his ex, Ruby Rose. I'm not really too familiar with who that young lady is, but I don't know if she's a rapper or just an IG personality. But there was some text that was kind of flirty, and Halle kind of saved face by saying, "Oh, he had already showed me that." But that was also another thing where people were like, "Why is he texting with his ex?" and kind of seemingly dogging you in those texts. Also had her around Blueface and Krishan Rock, which, no judgment, but my gosh, Halle mixed with Blueface and Krishan Rock, that doesn't bode well for what she was doing at the time, especially that kind of attention to her while she's at the height of the Little Mermaid craze. So it's understandable as to why people wanted to warn her about this relationship. I remember that Amanda Seals got a lot of backlash too for kind of saying, "Hey, little sis, auntie here, I don't think that's gonna work out for you," but I digress. Although coming from a two-parent home does not guarantee success in the choices that one makes, it is statistically proven that the best family structure for a child is a thriving two-parent household. Halle, in my opinion, has given her child less than what she has or had by creating a broken home for him. Now, I don't want y'all to be sensitive about this. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just giving a fact. I think part of the problem of where we are right now is that we're not all the way real when it comes to certain things, especially in certain communities. And because of that, we keep having generational things continue to perpetuate that, quite frankly, need to be broken. It makes sense to me if it makes more sense to me if somebody comes from a home that's not cohesive or that's broken or doesn't have the structure of a two-parent household, a thriving quality two-parent household, to do things that are within statistics, a la being, having a child out of wedlock. But when you come from that structure, to me, it's almost selfish for you to give your child less than what you had by creating them in an environment where that's not what you were brought up with. You benefited from being in a whole family, and now you have put your child in a situation where they're going to be ping-ponging back and forth between two households. Things may not be as consistent in one household as it is in the other, because maybe the parents are being spiteful, and so now I'm not necessarily trying to do what you're telling me to do. It's my kid too. I'm going to do what I want. And now you put your child in that, which is something that you didn't have. So you benefited from this specific type of structure, and now you've put your child into something counter to that structure. So I'm not going to be honest. I do be feeling a way about that, because I'm just always of the opinion that the goal is to give your children better than what you had or what you had growing up. And I just don't like to see people doing things that I feel, in my opinion, is counter to better than what you have. So now her child is back and forth. She has no control as to what environment he goes in, when, whether or not she's privy to that information. So she wanted the quote unquote bad boy. She got the quote unquote bad boy, and then she ended up breaking up with the quote unquote bad boy. On the other hand, DDG got the quote-unquote good girl, and he is the first baby daddy, so he also has a specific kind of claims to her. Now, let's be clear here. Do not get me wrong. I do not think that Miss Halle is an innocent little lamb, and I don't think that DDG is the worst. She and DDG need to effectively co-parent. For that to happen, they need communication. They need to respect each other's positions as parents to their son. They may no longer be a couple, but they are partners in parenting. So going back earlier to when I read Halle's first statement, and she kept saying "my," she's expressed possession over their son as if he is more her son than he is DDG's son, and that's just not the case. They are both equal parents. Unless one or the other is proven to be unfit, they are both equal parents, and they have equal rights to do with their son as they wish. Now, in my opinion, they both should consider not having this child be exposed to social media at this young age. I think he's too young, so I think that may be something that they may want to consider, is just completely taking this child off of social media for a time. DDG does come off as a clout chaser, if I'm being honest. Not saying if he is or not, but he does come across that way. Now, to be able to make over 30K a month at his young age, you do need to be there. It does need to be a level of sensationalism for you to attract the kind of attention to make that kind of money. But again, that's also something that Halle should have considered while getting into a relationship with him. If she is going the route of a career that requires some discretion and privacy, you don't get with somebody who has made their living by being on the internet, which means that they have probably opened their lives up in a way that you may not want to, and now you want to try and change their way of doing things. So I do have a question. Finally, if you pursue a man, in my opinion, you'll never really know if he wants you and is willing to do what it takes to keep you. So what do y'all think? Should co-parents seek each other's permission before doing things with the child they share? Was this Halle's attempt to control DDG's time as a father, or is DDG trying to get under Halle's skin? Share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time.
Please like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.